The Trojan War, according to myth, was started when Paris, a prince of Ilion or Troy, eloped back to his homeland with Helen, who was then married to Menelaus. Since Menelaus was the king of Sparta and brother to Agamemnon, who was in turn the supreme commander over all of the Greek peoples, who, by the way, are alternatively called the Achaeans, the Argives, and the Danaans, this insult to his honor had to be repaid in no small way. The brothers led their armies, as well as the lesser kings of Greece and their fighting men, and laid siege to Ilion. But this being the well-walled city, as it is called over and over again, the Greek armies could not sack their target. So began a stalemate that led on for years and years, causing much fatigue and misery on both sides. Our story begins in the 10th and final year of that standoff. In one of their constant skirmishes along the coast, the Greek forces capture a young woman called Chryseis and give her over to Agamemnon as a war prize. But Chryseis is closer to the gods than most other slaves of war because she is daughter to Chryses, a priest in service of Apollo. He must have been a prominent one at that, too, since he is able to whip up countless prizes, as Homer says, on short notice, to offer to the Greeks as ransom for his daughter. He even throws benediction into the offer and pleads, "May the gods who have homes on Olympus grant you to plunder the city of Priam, or Troy, and reach your home safely. Release to me my beloved daughter. Take instead the ransom." This sounds like a great deal for all the Greek warriors, except Agamemnon. He has become so enamored by Chryseis' beauty and nobility that he even favors her to Clytemnestra, his own wife. Moreover, he is the supreme commander, the greatest of the Achaeans. To be singled out for misfortune is an insult to his greatness. Setting the pattern for all ruinous decisions in the Iliad to come, Agamemnon answers to his anger and chases the old priest away with threats. Helpless to persuade Agamemnon or match him with force, Chryses turns to Apollo. Apollo is enraged at the Greeks' disrespect for his servant, and therefore for his own authority. Among the many hats the god wears are the titles of the archer god and the god of plague. He combines these talents for his revenge and shoots arrows of disease at the Greek camp. So death rampages through the cattle and the men for 9 days, until, on the 10th, Achilles realizes that there must be something more going on than sheer bad luck, and calls the Achaeans together so that they can figure out why Apollo is bringing them such unprecedented trouble. Achilles proposes what was then a standard approach for understanding the vicissitudes of fate: to consult an oracle, a decipherer of divine signs like the flight patterns of birds and mysterious dreams. Fortunately, the Greek army has the counsel of a talented oracle called Calchas, the son of Thestor. Naturally, Calchas knows why a plague has befallen the Danaans, but he hesitates to speak. He knows that truth will not protect him from power, and the truth will surely anger the most powerful man among the Greeks, Agamemnon. After all, he has already rejected prudence for pride when asked by Chryses. The prospects are possibly even worse for Calchas, since his prophecy has already cost Agamemnon dearly once before. When the Greeks first gathered up their forces and set sail for Troy, they were met with impossible conditions at sea. It was then that Calchas revealed that the human sacrifice of Agamemnon's daughter, Iphigenia, was required to turn the winds. But if he does not speak, the Greeks are doomed to die on Trojan shores. In the end, he enlists Achilles' help to escape this double bind. Agamemnon may be the most powerful, but Achilles is the deadliest in combat, and no amount of power can bargain against death. Calchas makes Achilles swear that the great warrior will protect him, whatever the consequence of his prophecy, and only when Achilles obliges does he reveal that Apollo's onslaught cannot be stopped except by returning Chryseis free of ransom. The immediate aftermath is as Calchas predicted. Agamemnon is enraged, calling Calchas a prophet of evil and recalling the other grave injury the oracle has brought to him. Still, Agamemnon knows now, as he did back then, that he cannot bend the will of the gods. He agrees to return his war prize for the safety of his soldiers. That does not mean, however, that the Supreme Commander will take his misfortunes sitting down. Apollo may deprive him because the gods are incomparably greater, but the other Greeks, his subordinates, may not. He demands that the Argives cough up a matching prize to replace Chryseis, so that the pride of his status can be restored. Achilles, in turn, preaches restraint. The men have suffered enough, and it is not as though they were hoarding up greater prizes while Agamemnon served his post selflessly. His status has already been acknowledged in full, and the best prizes already went to him. "Stop this nonsense," replies Achilles. Achilles reminds Agamemnon how much more greatly he will be repaid after they finally achieve victory over Troy. For now, Agamemnon should give back the girl and not take any more from the men who have nothing good to give him. This, however, only deepens Agamemnon's anger. "Your counsel may appear sound," Agamemnon tells him, "but I know that it is a trick." How dare Achilles order his commander to give up his prize when he, a subordinate warrior, keeps his own? If the Greeks will not willingly offer him an adequate substitute for Chryseis, Agamemnon declares, he will go to someone's camp and take it for himself. At this point, Achilles, too, has had enough. Agamemnon's delusions of grandeur have blinded him to the realities of war.